Alright, guys. Alright, hey. Guys. Guys. Okay, so we're going through this review. What we're going to do is we're going to do most of the first part, and then we're going to go through the odds, okay? So just go with me, follow along as we go through this, okay? Alright, so I've got 100k over 70k squared. As far as simplifying the numbers, what goes into both 100 and 70? 10. How many times in 100? 10. How many times in 70? Okay, anything else simplify? How many k's? So 1k up here simplifies with 1k down there, leaving me with what? Final answer. Okay, let's move to number 2. Okay, now do 18 and 72 simplify? Right, and if you actually type them into the calculator, 18 and 18 goes into 72. How many times? 4. It goes into it 4 times, okay? So if it goes into it 4 times, then what I can do is I could say, okay, 18 and 72, 1 and 4. How many A's cancel out? 2 A's cancel out down here with 2 A's up there, leaving me with 1 A on top. So what's my answer? 1A over 4 or just A over 4? Either way. Okay. Let's do number 3. What do you notice about 21 and 30? What goes into 21 and 30? 3? Okay, how many times does 3 go into 21? So I've got 7x minus 10. What goes into both 6 and 27? So 3 goes into 6 how many times? Okay, and then 3 goes into 27 9 times. What cancels? The 3's, okay? So my final answer is just... Okay. And there we go. Alright, let's talk about number 4. Now guys, some of you aren't writing this down. Oh, we've already done these problems? So we've already done. Okay, that's right. Okay, so let's talk about this one. What do I need to do with the numerator? Factor? Right. So I need to factor, find the factors of negative 8 that add up to what? What factors to give you, what are the factors of 8? Okay, a negative 8 and a positive 1 gives me negative 7. So I'm going to say x plus 1, x minus 8. Okay, over. Now I'm looking for factors of what? Negative 6 that add up to negative 5. So what do you think? 6 and 1, which one needs to be negative? The 6, bigger number needs to be negative. That the middle number is negative. So I've got x minus 6 and x plus 1. What do you notice? Right. I'm multiplying x plus 1 on the top and multiplying x plus 1 on the bottom, so I can cancel them out. Final answer? Okay. Okay? Alright, now let's talk about number 5. What do I have to change about my factoring right here? What do I have to remember to do? Huh? Well, I would factor out the 3 if 3 did factor in all 3 of these numbers. But since it doesn't, I have to just do the bottoms up. You remember what bottoms up? So I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 8. What's 3 times negative 8? So I'm looking for factors of negative 24 that add up to negative 5. What are they? 3 and 8, right, and you're saying a negative 8? Which, I mean, we kind of just got a clue, 3 and 8, right? You can see them right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say n plus 3 and n minus 8, but am I done with factoring the numerator? You got to remember to do what? Right, you have to divide by. Okay, so this one will just be n plus 1, right? And that one will be perfect. Okay, now, so there's my numerator. Now, what about my denominator? Is there anything I could factor out? Leaving you with what? N plus 1? So n plus 1 on top, n plus 1 on bottom. So final answer over 8. Do the 8's cancel out? Why not? Right, I'm not multiplying, I'm subtracting, okay? Good. And then there we go. Trying it. Okay, let's talk about number 6. Alright, so these are just pretty small numbers. What would you do, guys? Okay, I'm going to write this down twice because there's 2 different ways to approach this. You said 6 and 8, right? Okay, so 6 and 8 both divide by 2, right? What's this? And 4? Okay, so does anything else simplify? They're both on the top though, right? So that's just 2 times 4, which is over. Good. It's actually a pretty color. It's just this weird, I don't know, printing. It's color. It's a really light blue, but oh well. Okay. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Okay, now she simplified the 4 and the 8 and the 6. Could I simplify the 2 and the 6? 1 and 3. Do I get the same thing? 1 times 8 is? 3 times 7 is? Okay, so either way, I don't care what you simplify as long as you simplify only one of them correctly. Okay? Alright, so let's talk about number 7. Okay, so I want to hear from you. What do you think? Okay, 4 and 2 simplifies to what? 2 and 1? Okay, what about 6 and 9? Okay, so 3 goes into 6 twice, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. What else simplifies? How many K's do I have on top? I actually have 2, right? I have a K here and a K there. So could both of those cancel out with both of those? Okay, so what am I left with in the numerator? Right, 2 times 2 over 1 times 3. We're multiplying, right? Alright, now number 8 should be pretty simple, right? But it's already factored, right? What are you saying, Haley? X minus 2's, X plus 7's. Final answer? Can I simplify the 6 and the 8? Why not? We're not multiplying, we're adding and subtracting. That's the answer. I'll triangle it this time. Now you said circle it, and I triangle it. Okay, now we're going to do just odds, okay? Alright, so let's look at 9. Now, I'm multiplying these two. What should I do before I start multiplying? Factor, right? I want to see if anything simplifies. So, I'm looking for factors of negative 48 that add up to negative 2. Negative 8 and positive 6. How do you find that if you don't know the factors right off the top of your head? Just go to your calculator. Right. You could type in 48 divided by x and see the factors, or just start dividing. 48 divided by 2, 48 divided by 3, 48 divided by 4. Okay. So, 48 has factors 6 and 8, right? And I need to add it to a negative 2, so which one's negative? 8. So my numerator is going to be m plus 6 times m minus 8 over 5 times. Okay, I can't factor the m plus 7, so I'm going to leave that alone. But then I've got m squared minus m minus 56. So I'm trying to think of the factors of that add up to negative 1. I think it's 7 and 8. Yeah. So which one's negative? The 8. So I've got m plus 7 and m minus 8. Okay, so tell me what happens. Cancel what? So m plus 7 and m minus 8. So final answer? I don't know about Debbie, but I was right. Okay, so now we're just going to do 11. So we're at this point we're going to do odds, okay? We are skipping. Now we're doing odds, okay? Sure. Okay, so let's talk about 11. Now 11's kind of got a lot going on, right? But all I need to do is see what can I factor out, guys, right? What can you factor out of 12r squared and 8r cubed? A 4 and r squared, right? So I'm going to factor out a 4r squared. What am I left with? A 3 minus 2r over. I've got what? What can I factor out of 6r cubed and 20r squared? 2 what? R squared. What am I left with? 3r plus 10 times. What can I factor out of 15 and 50? A 5? So I'm left with plus 10. And what can you factor out of 8r cubed and 12r squared again? 4r squared? So here's what I'm left with. Minus 3. Okay, so right away I see a lot of things canceling out, yeah? What cancels out? 4r squares. Okay, you could have simplified these r squares, that's fine, but I'm going to go ahead and just simplify this one and this one, because they're the exact same. Right? 3r plus 10. Okay. There's actually one more thing that cancels out. Right, if you rewrite this, okay, I'm going to rewrite this as negative 2r plus 3. Are those the same thing? Okay, so I'm going to just so you can see what I'm doing. Do you notice how this is a positive 2r and a negative 3, this is a negative 2r and a positive 3? What could I do to make this the same as that? Right, so basically it's like factoring out a negative, or just changing the signs. If I factor out a negative, I make this positive and make this what? Negative. So what can I do with these two now? Don't forget the negative. Pyramid of my answer. And they asked me to. You're just weird. We'll wait on you, Luigi. No, don't do the pyramid. I don't care about the pyramid. Okay, let's talk about 13. Huh? Okay, so the person actually talking about math said KFC. What is she talking about? Chicken, yes. Keep, flip, change? Yeah, okay, so 9 over 2n squared. Guys, this is what I keep the same. Do I keep the division or do I change it? Multiplication, and what do I do? 6n over 6, yeah? What about these 6's? Can I just cancel them out? Could I have canceled them out right here? I could have and said 1 over n, so n over 1, but as it is, that's okay. Okay, so the 6's cancel out. Now what else cancels out? 1 n from the top and 1 n from the bottom? Final answer? 9 over 2n. Okay? Okay. Alright, let's talk about 15. Okay, do you want to factor this before we start flipping and multiplying? Okay, so what can you factor out of 2a cubed plus 16a squared? Good. I can factor out a 2 in the numbers and an a squared from the variables. What am I left with? A plus 8 over a plus 8 times 3 over 2a squared. So I have to remember to flip the fraction, right, guys? All right, what cancels out? A plus 8, 2a squared. Final answer? 3. 32. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so, guys, does 8 go into 72? How many times does 8 go into 72? 9 times. So if I factor an 8 out, then I'm left with 8 times k plus 9 over 8k squared, right? We're on 17. Okay, now what? Okay. Yeah, factor before I write them down. Okay, so are we all in agreement that this is the one that's going to go here? Remember, I'm going to flip the fraction. Okay, so what can I factor out of both 72k squared and 8k cubed? An 8 and? Okay, so an 8k squared. Whoops. Good. Okay, what am I left with? What am I left with? 9 minus just a k. We factored out 2 k's, right? Okay. So now this goes in the denominator. What can you factor out of 10 and 90? A 10k squared. What am I left with? Minus. Okay. So, what do you think? Eight k squares? Almost. Right, so if I take a negative out and I put it, let's say, out here, a negative 1 times, then this becomes a negative 9 and a positive k, right? Well, you should. Well, you could borrow one of mine. I have a few, if you haven't noticed. Okay, so these cancel out now?
Yes.
Alright, is anything else simplify?
Yes.
Like what? The 8 and the 10? What goes in with 8 and 10? 2. It goes into 8 4 times, and it goes into 10 5 times. So, okay, so I've got some weird things going on. I've got a 4, I've got a k plus 9, and I've got a negative 1 on top. So I'm going to say negative 4 times k plus 9 over 5k squared. Now, could I write this as this? Either one is fine. I don't care. Okay. No. Alright, now we're going to come back to these in just a minute. I want to skip to this, okay, the adding and subtracting. So that last page that I handed you. Okay. Now guys, how do we add two fractions? Hey, how do we add two fractions? They have to have a common denominator. Do these first two have a common denominator? So what do? I just add the tops. Do you ever add the denominators? No? Okay. So just remember, if you eat a fourth of a pizza and another fourth of a pizza. You ate a half of a pizza, right? Which is the same thing as saying 2 over the common denominator 4, right? It's not 2 over 8 because that is just 1/4. You can't eat a fourth and eat another fourth and then just basically eat a fourth. That doesn't make sense. So, we do not, well, then you ate the other half later. Okay, so you do not add the common denominator. So, in this problem right here, I'm only adding the numerators, right? 2b plus 1 plus b plus 4 over the common denominator 6b plus 12. What can I simplify? What can I simplify, guys? The b's and the 4 and the 1. 2b plus 1b is? 1 plus 4 is? 5 over 6b plus 12. Now, this would almost simplify if 5 was divisible by 3, right? If that had been a 15, we would have divided everything out by 3. But as it is, it doesn't, so we're done. Okay. Okay, let's talk about this one for a second. Let's talk about this one. What do you want to do? We need a what? We need a common denominator, right? Okay, you don't have to. Right. Okay, so if I've got 2 over 6 plus 2b over 2ab, the common denominator between 2 and 6 is just 6, right? So all I need on this side is a 3. But I now have a 6ab. Do I have a 6ab on this side? I got to multiply by a and a b, right? So here's what I've got in the numerator. 2ab plus 6b over what? 6ab. Now, is there anything I can factor out of the numerator? A 2? No, you're right. And a what? A b. What am I left with? A plus 3. We're factoring out the numerator. A 2 is in common and a b is in common, right? So if I factor out 2 and b, I'm left with a 2 and a b, I'm left with 3 over 6ab. That simplifies. The 6 and the 2 to 1 and 3. What else? B and B? That was not multiplying, right? So I'm left with a plus 3 over 3a. Now, guess what? We just made that problem a whole lot harder than it needed to be. So if you have room, what I'd like you to do is, if you have room, I don't know, it depends on how big you're, right? What do you notice about 2 and 6? So I could say 1 and 3 right now. So 1/3. What do you notice about 2b and 2ab? So I'm left with 1 over a. What's the common denominator now? 3a. I need an a here. I need a 3 here. So I've got a plus 3 over 3a. It's much easier if you can go ahead and simplify. So go ahead and do that. Okay? Okay. I'll give you a minute. So when you're simplifying, when you're adding and subtracting, go ahead and check and see if there's anything that cancels out before you start finding common denominators. So to make your life easier, the smaller the denominators are. You good? Okay. Alright, so let's talk about this problem right here, number 5. Do these denominators have anything in common? Right. If they don't factor into each other, then that means the common denominator is both of them, right? So on this side, on this side I need a 3b cubed, right? What do I need on this side then? b plus 4. So what do I need to do with this 5 and this v plus 4? Good. So I've got what? 5v plus 20. Now I'm going to write this as, well, I've got a minus, right? 2 times 3v cubed, what's that? Cubed? Over the common denominator of 3v cubed times v plus 4. Or v plus 4 times 3v cubed. Is there anything that simplifies? Well, okay. Remember, I'm subtracting, so I can't cancel out v cubes. I could try and factor if this is a squared, but since it's a cube, I think I'm done. Nothing I can do. Could you distribute the denominator? You could. You don't have to, but you could. That would be 3v to the 4th plus 12v cubed. Okay. Alright, so let's talk about number 7. Right. Do these denominators have anything in common? So they need each other. So on the a plus 5 side, the left side, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by what? 6. Right? Okay. So I'm going to multiply this by 6 and this by 6. Okay, wait. Good point. James just asked, can I simplify the 2 and the 6? Okay, I'm going to rewrite this. And you'll have plenty of room if you need to, so just rewrite it with me. Let's simplify the 2 and the 6 first. To what? 1/3. That way I don't have to simplify in the end. Okay, now what's my common denominator? 3 and a plus 5? Okay, it's not that you would have gotten it wrong here, it's just that you have to remember at the end to simplify. So here I'm going to multiply by 3 and by 3. Here I'm going to multiply by a plus 5. Okay, so what's my numerator now? 18. Now you have to be careful about this. I'm going to write it like this. Minus 1 times a plus 5. And you know why I'm doing that? Because most people forget to distribute the negative. And you have to remember to distribute the negative over my common denominator, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and distribute our negative. So I've got 18 minus what? A minus 5. What's 18 minus 5? So 13 minus a over 3 times a plus 5. We're good? If I hadn't done this, if I had done this at the beginning, then I would have gotten 26 minus 2a over 6, and then I would have noticed that I could have factored out a 2 and simplified. Okay? But if you do it at the beginning, it's a lot easier. Okay. Now let's go back to those last 3 questions. Okay, 19, 21, and 23. Okay. So I've got 2 over x over 1 over 3. When you divide a fraction by another fraction, what do you have to do? Okay. Keep, flip, change, or so I make, basically, and this is kind of what we talked about yesterday, guys, so if you weren't here yesterday, this is what we talked about, and that was the homework I gave you. I take the bottom fraction, and I multiply top and bottom by the reciprocal of the denominator. Why? Because what happens down here? They cancel each other out, and dividing by 1 is, you don't have to write that down, right? So I'm just, does anything simplify the numerator? No, so we just multiply. 2 times 3 is, x times 1 is, and there we go. Okay. Now, this is where the complex fractions comes in that I have a fraction in the numerator, and then I have fractions being subtracted in the denominator. Right, I have to make those one fraction, and then I can do the thing that we just did. So, how do I subtract 8 over x minus x over 2? Right, the only way you can combine fractions is to have a common denominator. So what's common between x and 2? Okay, so I need them both. Right, Joseph? Uh-huh. So, on this one I need a 2. On this one I need a what? Okay. So, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write the numerator as x squared over 1. Are y'all okay with that? I'm going to make it a fraction because it's easier to deal with. Over my numerator and my denominator, 16 minus x squared. Y'all with me? Over the denominator, 2x, right? So we just divide by 1 denominator. And exactly, at this point what I do is I flip this and I say, okay, I'm going to multiply by 2x over, and that's gone now, right? Does anything cancel out, or do I just need to simplify? Okay. Yep. Okay, so I can't cancel anything out, so I just combine. X squared times 2x over 1 times that. Final answer. Okay, let's do it one more time. 23. Alright. Tito, what do I need to do first? What did we do first on this one? What did we do right here? Well, we made the denominators what? The same? So do I need to make these denominators the same? Okay, so what do I need to multiply this side by? Huh? M? Okay, so I need an M here and an M there. What do I need to multiply this side by? Okay. Now my denominators are both 5m, right? Okay, so then I'm going to rewrite it as 10 over m squared over, what's my numerator now? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write this as one fraction, right? M squared times m is minus over the common denominator 5m, right? Okay, now what do I do? Okay, so flip and multiply by. Okay. So does anything simplify? Good, right. I can cancel out 1m here and 1m there. So what's my numerator now? Which is 50 over m times m cubed minus 10, which technically we could write as m to the 4th minus 10m, but do you have to? No, but if it was multiple choice, then maybe you would have to maybe recognize it, right? Okay, so either one is correct. Okay? Alright, that's what we're going to do. And tomorrow we will finish out the review, okay?